Statue of Liberty, and you're watching Let Freedom Ring.
And welcome to Let Freedom Ring with Dan Bollier, WrestleMania 42 Night One reaction. A lot of excitement in the air. Is this the last WrestleMania before Saudi Arabia next year for WrestleMania 43? A lot of opinions just flying out there online. Figured with Let Freedom Ring, we're gonna do things a little bit different. We've never done a reaction after the fact before, so we're gonna try something new. So feel free if you want to jump on, comment. If you do want to comment, make sure you're doing that on Facebook. Make sure you're doing that on the Let Freedom Ring page, so that I can actually see the comments. Anything said on my personal page, for whatever reason, I've never been able to figure out how to connect the personal page to the live comments. So if you want to comment, and I would love for people to jump in, wrestling fans to jump in on this after night one. You got your post show on YouTube right now. You get your post show on the ESPN app that I refuse to pay for. That's why I go to my brothers to watch it. But um, I want to hear what people have to say about WrestleMania 42. And I'll give my opinions, but I'd love for people to jump in on the comments, have a little fun. WrestleMania ended insanely early. I can't remember if the last couple of years it's ended this early, but it's kind of nice that it wraps up around 10 o'clock, 10:20, or whatever it was. Um, but yeah, I'll give my instant reactions to it. Um, I won't say this show was bad, but I won't say it was super good either. I think it's somewhere in the middle. Didn't feel like I guess I'll just go into this match by match. I will admit I did not get to see the opening contest with the Usos LA Knight versus the Vision I Show Speed. I was unable to get home by 6 o'clock to see this. I did see I Show Speed jumping off the top through a table. I think he hit Logan Paul on that. I got to give him credit to I Show Speed because he is way more entertaining than I ever have given him credit for. I'm not one of the 52 subscribers to his YouTube channel. Viewers, if you want to comment, please do it on the Let Freedom Ring page with Dan Bollier. If you comment on my personal page, I can't see it. It doesn't pop up. So jump on that page or jump on YouTube. I would love people to throw their feedback in here as well. So yeah, I mean, and I guess LA Knight, I'm assuming pinned I Show Speed, whatever. This was free. It was only a 7-minute match. And I guess this was free on ESPN. And then you had Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre in their unsanctioned match. Jacob Fatu going over on Drew McIntyre. This was a lot of fun to watch. I have to say, Jacob Fatu, and I was watching some of his interview on the press conference after. Jacob Fatu to me is a guy, and I don't know if a lot of people are going to agree with me or disagree with me here. I really think Jacob Fatu at some point should be headlining night 1 or 2 of a WrestleMania because that guy is phenomenal and is worth every penny that WWE has signed to bring him in. I think he's been there for about 2 years now. What an unbelievable talent. And I think it's the right decision to have him obviously go over McIntyre. It doesn't hurt McIntyre anyway. Not that I think wins and losses in professional wrestling are always that important. But this was a great match. Felt like a mania. Uh, at that point, they did tell everybody to switch over to the app because it was no longer going to be free on ESPN. I have to say what I've noticed about the WrestleManias and what I've noticed over and over with TKO is the overflow of commercials. You have so many advertisements already on that ring. And I did see Green Shirt Guy, the famous wrestling fan, Green Shirt Guy, paid to have his name on the WrestleMania ring. That's where we're at in 2026. So you have all these advertisements constantly, on the ring while you're still commercial after commercial after commercial on an app that people are paying $30 a month to have. And I've seen what's on that app. I mean, really, you're just paying for the wrestling pay-per-views, unless you want to watch, college softball. I feel like a lot of stuff that's on that app is already on ESPN Plus, which is much cheaper. So that was a big thing I've noticed, and I probably noticed that last year. TKO, man, they will do anything for money. Um, and you can see Nick Khan throughout WrestleMania 42. He's in the front row, and a lot of uh, a lot of the stuff to me goes back to him and a lot of the deals that he's made. But back to actually WrestleMania, um, you then had the Fatal Four Way for the women's tag titles. Um, this was pretty good. I mean, I really thought it was cool that Lash Legend and Nia Jax came out with a little tribute to Demolition. I thought that was pretty unique. Um, was never a huge fan of Demolition. They were a little bit before my time, but that was pretty unique. And the big news, and this was talked about, all over the internet over the last day or so, is that Paige has returned to WWE. And honestly, I think that's huge. I think Paige fits WWE better than I don't really. I think AEW gave her another chance to wrestle. She was told she was never going to wrestle again. Had her time in AEW that was not super memorable. Unfortunately, a lot of things in AEW are not memorable. Um, so Paige is back, and she was filling in for Nikki Bella, who is injured. So Paige is back and already with the tag titles. So very, very. I think this was a good way to start the portion of the show that was just on the app. That's a really good surprise. It's a good return. Um, it's weird to see Charlotte Flair not really be the center of attention in the women's division anymore. So that took some getting used to. But I honestly thought this match, that surprise, was great. Honestly. Um, then we go into the women's intercontinental title match between Becky Lynch and AJ Lee. AJ Lee had a pretty unique entrance. She had a bunch of kids, going to the ring dressed as her, doing her skip that she does. I thought that was a pretty cool WrestleMania entrance. Becky ends up, defeating AJ Lee. Um, we have Facebook messages. Now, let me tell you this. If you are commenting on my personal page, I can't see it. I can't see it on the personal page. I can see it if you comment on the Let Freedom Ring page. Let me see. All right. Hold on. Justin, okay. Because we've had some controversy. Okay. So Justin has a friend. And we'll talk. We'll talk about this again. Anyone wants to jump in and comment? I just figured this might be fun thing to do. I'm not going to do this for every wrestling pay per view, but it's WrestleMania. Why not? And it's early, So, um, Justin called out somebody saying, someone's on there saying young talent in WWE is getting screwed. And he said, what young talent got screwed? Stephanie McCare, Liv don't need that belt. LOL. The women's tag team title. Oh, I, okay. Okay. Yeah, sure. I don't know. That's okay. I mean, Liv Morgan. So Stephanie McCare is 33. Liv Morgan is 31. That's not a good example for a young talent getting screwed. I'm not really into that argument, right? And I'll talk about like the main events. I do think you have to build newer stars in the main events of WrestleMania at some point. Um, but that's a horrible example. I'm not going to agree with the women's tag title either. Paige is still very young for someone that is been wrestling a long time. I think she's in her early 30s. She had a career-ending neck injury. Um, Came back in AEW and has just returned in WWE. I think that you strike while it's hot with a tag title. So that's not young talent getting it screwed, in my opinion. That's a really hot take. I mean, the rest of that match. Uh, so she's what were we referring to, Lyra Vicaria or Lash Legend? Like everybody else in that match has been in WWE for a lengthy amount of time. That's a bad take. That's a horrible take, and that's a horrible backup to that take. If that's the example, uh, to go on a rant about Triple H like that, that's a horrible example. Um, yeah, interest. That's a weird take. With that being said, obviously Becky Lynch goes over AJ Lee. I'm assuming AJ Lee is not going to be on television regularly. I think she's just on a part-time deal. Um, yeah, I thought that was a fine match. I think that's a good, like, they need to end that feud and move on. Um, some big news coming out of this match: Gunther versus Seth Rollins, which was thrown together really at the last moment. I mean, this match just felt like Seth Seth is ready to go. Gunther doesn't have an opponent for Mania, who has been on one of the hottest streaks. Gunther retired Goldberg, retired John Cena, retired AJ Styles. And then, he just was kind of sitting there like, what's he going to do at Mania? Throwing him in with Rollins at the very last minute, great match. I would have put Seth Rollins' career on the line, and I probably would have had Seth Rollins lose, like Braun Breaker costing him his career there, because we're going to talk about that. I would have put some sort of stipulation in there, because you can have a retirement match and someone can lose and they can still it's a predetermined show, so you go back on that. But it was a good match. It was great to see Braun Breaker's back out there. I would have had more, personally, I would have had, with everything that's gone on with Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman over the last few weeks, I probably would have had Heyman somewhat more involved in that. But other than that, I mean, it was a good match. Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins obviously is going to be a major feud going forward. And in my honest opinion, I would love to see Braun Breaker in one of these main events, like a Jacob Fatu. For the future, I'd love to see Braun Breaker break through and headline WrestleMania. Um, so that was good. Liv Morgan, Stephanie Vicaire. It was just okay. It was just okay. I'm glad Liv Morgan won. I didn't care for her intro. I didn't really care for that song that she's created. I thought the guy dancer was very unnecessary in that entrance. But this match was just all right. And then Liv Morgan wins, and we're right to the main event. Well, before that, Bianca Belair, announced she was pregnant. As soon as she walked out, I said, "Oh, okay, now we know where she's been." Um, Main event was entertaining. I know a lot of people are probably not thrilled with it. That crowd seemed to be very, I don't know, people are going to debate. I mean, there was a lot more boos for Cody Rhodes um, than we've probably heard in a long time, which, I get it. That's how a lot of us felt during John Cena's run for many years. It wasn't like we hated John Cena. It was like, okay, enough already, and that happened to Roman Reigns. And I think when the audience sees the same thing over a lot with those, diehard fans, they start to sort of turn on whoever the number one guy is, and that happens to be Cody right now. Um, I thought the McAfee involvement again, it's been a head scratcher. I don't think it, honestly. I mean, Pat has a lot of heat out there. I thought it was hilarious how the match started. I was dying. McAfee attacks Cody to start the match, and then Randy's putting the boots to him, and, and Pat McAfee is air putting the boots to Cody. Kind of like when Damien Sandow would, be the shadow to the Miz. That's what it reminded me of, and I just started laughing so hard at that. I thought that was brilliant. Um, and then Jelly Roll came out of nowhere. J- I don't know. Jelly Roll, obviously not an actor. He's a singer. I just thought his expression was so funny to me, and putting Pat through the table. Um, that whole beginning of the match, I could not stop laughing. I just thought it was like just a very funny way to start a main event. But overall, the match was pretty slow. Man, a lot of rumors out there that Randy Orton is currently injured. Um, so that may make a little sense. Um, I thought I thought the ending was great. I thought Randy arcing. I liked Randy RKOing the referee. Cody hitting the low blow. Obviously, I think a lot of people, not necessarily me, would like to see Cody Rhodes start to turn heel. I think he'd knock it out the park. But I'd much rather at this point see. I'd love to see tomorrow CM Punk do something shady to keep that title, and we get CM Punk heel CM Punk, because I think we need that one more time before he retires. And I don't think he has any plans of retiring. But heel CM Punk is always my favorite version of him. But back to like Cody and Randy. I thought that was a great finish. You could tell Randy, he RKO's Pat McAfee, which leads to him getting, crossroads and losing the match. So the involvement of Pat McAfee backfired on Randy Orton. I also would have loved to see Randy get to number 15 tonight. I really want him to get that record at some point. Um, and then Randy, takes out Cody with the belt, gives the punt. We haven't seen the punt out of Randy Orton in a long time. So I mean, I honestly do think like the main event, for as slow as it was at points, was probably the thing I enjoyed most on this card. Um, I don't think it was a bad night one. Again, I think this is a better. I thought this was a better main event than Cena and Cody the year before. I thought that was awful, and we all know, we're all pretty upset that The Rock, was put in the storyline and then just sort of disappeared. I thought Pat Pitt did a better job than Travis Scott. Obviously, Pat McAfee is not just a celebrity. He works for WWE. He has for a long time. But I thought overall the main event was pretty entertaining. A little slow at parts, but I do believe Randy Orton might be injured. They were even talking about that on commentary. Um, but overall, um, it felt very fast. It is definitely over commercialized. There's too many commercials, but I would say overall this was pretty good start to WrestleMania. You got a surprise. Wrestling fans love surprises, and you got Paige, so people should be pretty happy about that. Um, Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre, they lived up to expectations. I thought Gunther and Rollins lived up to expectations, and I think the main event was pretty entertaining. So I know a lot of people are going to criticize WrestleMania. I mean, I don't know if WWE is ever going to catch. Well, not right now, but they probably will again. I mean, I don't think anything really is going to top how good 40 was 2 years ago. I think it's going to be a while before we see a Mania that comes close. But overall, this wasn't bad. Wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. I don't know. So that's really my take on tonight. I think it was a blast. I think they've also built some other stuff moving forward. We got Braun Breaker back as well. Um, yeah, if I were to rate this, if it was like on a 1 to 10 scale, I'd say night one's probably like you know, I'd probably give it like a 6.5, 7. Um, Nothing too crazy, but there was a lot of entertainment value to it. So I think night one was okay. But yeah, I didn't want to get on here too long. I just wanted to kind of give that Maybe Let Freedom Ring will do this from time to time, just give some instant reactions. I may feel different about this whole show when I wake up in the morning too. Like I may have a totally different take when I wake up. But right now, I'm going to say this show's about a 6.5 out of 10. Nothing spectacular, but not that bad. So um, I'm going to go to bed. Everybody participating in the Tough Ruck tomorrow. Good luck. First one I've missed in 10 years. I will be there rooting you guys on. So, and then we're on to night 2 of WrestleMania. So, everybody out there, get some rest. On to tomorrow.